They never really let him grow a beard or do comedy that was weird. And the truth is, because for a long time, for the majority of my career, I was on at 12:35 at night. Nobody that I worked for watched my show. I didn't see it, and so we just ran with it. I think about all the things we did over the years that are just completely absurd, obscene, weird. They didn't go through any filter whatsoever. And often, every now and then, they assign a lawyer to watch the show and give us notes, and they were constantly missing the incredibly obscene thing we were doing and giving us notes about pronunciation of something completely unrelated. There's not a lot that I couldn't do. I think it's more about the tone. I think the tone might change a little bit now because, like I say, I've been through this event, and the last 3.5 months has been all improvisation. The groundswell of internet support from a lot of young people that are in this room completely took my network by surprise. They don't know what hit them. I think there's a lot of people in broadcast television that are very dismissive, or have been very dismissive about the internet, and they're also afraid of it. They tend to deride what they don't understand. So when this explosion happened on the internet, when they announced that, well, okay, maybe we're going to slide Conan over to accommodate this other gentleman who's having his difficulties in another time period, and I won't get into specifics, you'll have to look it up. And I said, you know what, that doesn't really work for me. I think in a fairly polite way. There was suddenly a huge reaction from people, some of the people in this room, a lot of people like you across the country said, wait a minute, we like this person, and this person kind of, we're with him, and they started reacting on the internet. And the first thing that happened at my employers, they saw this huge explosion on the internet, and they thought that I was doing it. And they really had this attitude of, make him stop. Why is he doing this? And they just didn't understand what was happening. I think they still don't understand what's happening. And my feeling is, what I've learned is, I had nowhere else to go, so I started on Twitter because I literally had no other option. I was and am legally prohibited from appearing on television, radio, and doing performances on the internet. So it was just literally like a prisoner in a 14th century cell, writing little things on a scrap of paper and throwing them out the window. And hoping, a pet would go by and, hey, what's this? Kick in the tower. So I started to do that and send out these little things, and it exploded overnight. And at first I started to hear a little bit of stuff from the other side saying, well, we're not sure you should be allowed to, because of the, and then they realized the absurdity of shutting down my Twitter account. That started with that, and then I started to think about the tour, which I'm allowed to do, and so we started this idea for a tour, and then what was fascinating is, by the time we launched the tour, or announced the tour, I didn't spend one penny on advertising. I sent out one tweet that directed people to a website where you could buy your ticket. That was it. And the show sold out in a couple of hours across the country, and that got everybody, a lot of people, rethinking how things are marketed. And there's not one billboard, I didn't have to go to one radio station and sit with morning DJs, and hop my show. I didn't have to do any of that. It was one tweet, and I think people are starting to understand that the world has completely changed. And, it has. It did change.